President Donald Trump has hinted at holding discussions with the Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro, who has been in the crosshairs of a U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean. Now, Trump offered no further details about the possibility of talks, though he suggested he would keep up the pressure on the Maduro regime. Now, the Venezuelan Communications Ministry, however, did not immediately respond to a request for comment.
It allows us to do that, but we haven't said we're going to do that. And we may be having some discussions with Maduro, and we'll see how that turns out. They would like to talk. Venezuela would like to talk. What does it mean? You tell me. I don't know. You want to talk to them? I talk to anybody. I talk to you, right? I talk to anybody. We'll see what happens.
Well, the news of possible discussions between the U.S. and Venezuela came as Washington formally designated what it says is a cartel run by Venezuelan president as a foreign terrorist organization. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the decision on Sunday, saying the Cartel de los Soles works alongside other designated FTOs and is responsible for widespread violence and drug trafficking across the region. Also, U.S. officials say the designation comes amid a major American military buildup in the Caribbean, including the deployment of the USS Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group as part of Operation Southern Spare. Now, Washington says the buildup is needed to counter smuggling networks. Well, Caracas claims the move is part of a plot to topple President Maduro, an accusation U.S. officials reject. Rubio reiterated long-standing U.S. allegations that Maduro and senior Venezuelan officials lead the organization, asserting they have corrupted key state institutions. Also, since the U.S. launched its anti-trafficking campaign in September, at least 83 people accused of moving drugs in international waters have been killed, including 3 in a strike in the Eastern Pacific. Well, the U.S. has not provided evidence that those targeted were traffickers, and experts warn the killings may constitute extrajudicial actions. Meanwhile, Pentagon announced another attack on an alleged drug trafficking vessel in the Eastern Pacific. The U.S. Southern Command has described the vessel as being operated by a designated terrorist organization and was transporting narcotics along a well-known trafficking route in international waters. Now, 3 men characterized by officials as narco-terrorists were killed in the operation, the 21st known attack on drug boats by the U.S. military since early September was carried out under an order attributed to U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. And for more on this, we have Akshay Dongre joining us live. Well, Akshay, how does the U.S. Simultaneously hinting at talks with Maduro while designating his alleged cartel as a foreign terrorist organization shape the credibility and intentions of Washington's broader strategy towards Venezuela?
Well, it seems that the strategy remains the same, Lipakshi, but, as far as the way they are presenting it is in a way slightly different. It's a carrot and stick, approach this time around that the Trump administration is using. And on one side, they are saying that they are willing to talk, but on the other hand, they are keeping the pressure up by increasing the military buildup in the area, by targeting the vessels that they are claiming are of cartels, are of, drug traffickers that are sending a large amount of drugs into the onto the U.S. soil. So while they are looking for an off-ramp from the kind of hostilities that there are, and they have prevailed, but it seems that they also want to assure their domestic audience that the government is doing all that they can to ensure this stoppage of drugs flowing into the country. However, also what we are looking at is a new approach, in a way that talks are being directly talked about by Donald Trump, the U.S. president, which means that despite all of the efforts that have been made to either, talk to the audience talk to his domestic audience about the kind of drug menace that is in the country, and the cause has been according to U.S. President, Venezuela and the Maduro regime for a long time. In fact, a major one. But they also have realized that the kind of tactics that were used earlier are not working out.
All right, Akshay, of course, stopping the drugs is an aim. But to what extent is the U.S. military build-up in the Caribbean driven by the genuine counter-narcotics objectives versus the geopolitical aims, such as pressurizing or destabilizing the Maduro government?
Well, it has always been there, Lipak. It's just not one cause that leads to a country like US to take such a drastic action, as
Right.
to targeting the vessels of other sovereign nation. So it's not just a drug issue, is what it appears prima facie, but it is also the geopolitics of the region. Venezuela and the Maduro regime has been consistently against the US government. It's not just the Trump administration, but even in the earlier administration, there has been a lot of friction. There has been a lot of antagonism towards each other, and that perhaps is the reason why, as soon as Donald Trump came, he picked up one issue of drug trafficking and launched out an all-out operation against the vessels of Venezuela, claiming that those are drug traffickers and are providing no proof. So, if they had to take action against drug traffickers, there are a lot of other countries from where drugs have been flowing into the U.S. Many of the countries that the U.S. took over, countries like Afghanistan, countries in the West Asian region, they also have been, accused of growing, large harvests of drugs. However, no similar action has been taken when we don't have any precedents of the kind of action that is being taken against Venezuela. So it's not just drugs, what it appears. It's much larger than that.
Also, with U.S. targeting of alleged narcotics vessel in the Caribbean countries, what reactions can we pick up from the various stakeholders?
Well, obviously, Venezuela is claiming that, these are not drug traffickers, and the kind of action that has been taken in international waters is illegal, clearly, whereas the Trump administration has vocally said that these are people who are sending drugs and killing the U.S. citizens, and that is to it. As of now, these are the two main sides that have been, claiming and counterclaiming each other's accusations, but as of now, no concrete evidence has been provided by either side.
All right, Akshay, thank you so much for all those details.